Good morning, everybody. No video today. Mr. Schmidt here. Hope you're having a stress-free week, although I doubt it because this is the last home stretch, as we call it, before you are done this course. Anyways, I want to make that process easier, not harder. So I'm just going to go through the culminating activity with you and emphasize some expectations that I have and make sure you are on the right track. So let's get to it. So I've impersonated somebody, Allison, thank you as usual, and I went down through the content bar. This is how I do it because it's easier and it makes more sense. As I go to content and then this pops up and I'm in unit 7. Okay, and it's a little bit confusing as usual because of the way D2L is set up and because of the modifications I made. So when you first see A1, it says slideshow, but of course you are not doing a slideshow. At the right spot under assignment, how Canadian are you survey. Oh, is this what I do? Yes, this is what you do. So you go and you take a look, and you click on it, and here is what it tells you. It is the year 2014. Well, I would say you can safely say it's the year 2015. You have been given the task of designing a survey that measures the Canadianness of our citizens. Okay, so here is your job: to define Canadian and create a success criteria for it. If you're wondering what a success criteria is, think about all the rubrics that we have used, especially the ones for culminating activities. A success criteria defines what the categories by which something is going to be evaluated. So for Canadianness, that's pretty wide open, but you can come up with your own, and you're supposed to communicate that to me somehow. Okay, so that should be stated somewhere in your assignment. And it says, based on that definition, create a 35-mark survey using a Google Forms and all its features, multiple choice, true or false, scale, grid, etc. Based on the content of this course. And then it says include an explanatory paragraph to justify your choices for both form, as in the types of questions you use, and content, as in why you use specific events. Okay, so type of questions refers to true or false or multiple choice. So if you don't know what to do and you don't have a Google account, you need to create a Google account, and then you can find forms under Drive. So if I go to my Drive looks like this. I have a bunch of stuff in here, and then if I go up here, it gives me all these other options where I can go. I should get that Mac Keeper out of the way. Right? These are all my possibilities. I've got YouTube and Drive and the calendar here. And I go to New to create a new one. So when I go to New, all of these are possibilities: Google Slides, Google Sheets, but are in Google Docs. And then you go to More, and I see Google Forms. So that's what I've opened up over here. And as I look at it, I don't have a title. I need to put it in. And then for each question, there is a bunch of stuff you can do. So you can make it a multiple choice. You can make it a checkbox. You can choose from a list of answers. You can create a scale or a grid. Okay, you have all these different options. So your job is to kind of make an interesting survey and to use as many of these as possible. And you don't want it to look exactly like a test, because everyone would fail that in Canada if they weren't taking grade 10 history. But you also don't want it to just be opinion-based questions. So a mixture of both things that Canadians should know and things that Canadians can identify with. And you should be well on your way. Now, like all things in this class, if you really want to succeed, well, that's not for you to see at all. There we are. We're back here. Go to your Dropbox. And the beautiful thing about the Dropbox, if it ever comes up, so we're in Unit 7, and I've got 2 tasks I need to do. So we look at the Canadian survey, and look at that, a rubric. Okay, and there are 4 main criteria that you're going to be evaluated on. As usual, demonstrates knowledge about Canada's participation in international events, institutions, and agreements, basically all the content of this course, including if you want to include content from Unit 6, even though we didn't cover it. Criteria 2, use planning skills in selecting and gathering information on Canada history and current events. So that's something that we should talk about in general, the idea of curating. We are now in the age of information where when you're doing a project, there's almost too much information out there that you're gathering. And when you run a website, let's say you're looking for a clip, well, there might be 20 clips, and your job is to find the best clip out of all of those. Does that take some time? Yes. Is it annoying? Probably. But curating information is a skill, and that's what you will be evaluated on. So, in this case, for the survey, you know, if you have a lot of questions that don't really seem to be that important in terms of Canadian identity, and you can't justify your opinion in a logical way, then that will suffer. Okay. Completes research project that reflects elements of historical inquiry with a high degree of effectiveness. Okay. That again has to do with you searching and distinguishing between more important and less important. And then, of course, the last one is how you use Google Forms, and whether you do so imaginatively, and whether you do so in a way that you've actually explored the tool to its maximum function, or whether you just kind of gave up early and made everything true or false and kind of made it boring for everybody. Okay. So we'll cancel out of there, and that would be your first one. If you have any questions about that, I believe I have it here. Frequently asked questions section for culminating activity. Use it. What does that mean? Well, if you go down to discussions, and you go down to Unit 6, people helping people, there it is, culminating survey and blog post. Any questions you have for Mr. Schmidt, put here, and other people will answer as well. Okay, so you can take a look at that. Let's move to the second of these. I know this is going to be a long video. It'll probably be close to 15 minutes, but it's worth it so that we all are on the same page. So again, let's go to content. And again, this is your view, not my view, so it should be fine. Assignment. It's called Pride and Prejudice. Ooh, that sounds exciting. Complete the following assignment and submit. Imagine you are blogging online the night before the July 1st Canada Day celebration. Okay, so now you have to think as a blogger again. So this is slightly different than thinking as an essay writer. You're writing for a different type of audience, a wider type of audience, and you're writing publicly, which means your decisions are going to be seen by a lot of people. Your entry is entitled Pride and Prejudice, Canada's International Legacy, which is misspelled and is not capitalized, which is a problem. Oh well. Your goal is to discuss the significance of 3 defining moments in Canada's 20th century that make you proud. And yeah, you can extend that into the 21st century, although it would be difficult to do. As well as 3 that make you ashamed to be Canadian. Okay, so it's asking you for 6 examples, 3 of which are where Canada shines the brightest. And again, this is a judgment call on your part. There's like anything where you're trying to choose the 5 best or the 10 best. Well, you're asking for the 3 most amazing or most significant events where Canada shone, and 3 where you should be ashamed to be Canadian. The format can be essay-like, but remember, you are trying to get viewers online. Use the blog form tac.com and post a link in the Dropbox. The blog should include a captivating title, written content, visual content, and this is, just like your timeline and other things like that. This is where, again, curation matters, because you're trying to find fun and exciting and visually stimulated sources, and there's a lot of sources out there, but that doesn't mean they're all good, and they're not all equally good, and you can almost all spend too much time finding the perfect clip. But if you do spend that time and you find it, then you'll be very satisfied, and that's kind of part of the assignment too. And of course, as you always, you want sources. Below is a reminder of how to write an academic paper. You don't have to really worry about that. Okay, this is a helpful a reminder of what is expected in a five paragraph essay, but that's not really what you're doing here. And let's go look at the rubric. Again, I like to do it through here. I know you can just click on it. Oh my gosh, we're at 11 minutes already. Pride and Prejudice, here we go. As per usual, demonstrates thorough knowledge in the explanation of how Canada's participation in international events has contributed to its evolution, uses planning skills in formulating and developing a thesis with a high degree of effectiveness. So again, to start off your blog, you want to kind of justify or begin to set up a structure for your audience as to what events you're going to go through. Uses conventions of vocabulary, grammar, and terminology. Again, it's online, so you want to make sure you've proofread it and it looks good. And 4, uses blog form with imagination and creativity, blending text with imagery in an aesthetically pleasing manner. So, like a lot of the projects in this course, form matters a little bit. It's not just content, it's the form you choose. I've asked you to use TAC. I'll show you what TAC looks like. TAC looks like this. You can have to sign up for it like all these other web tools. It makes it pretty easy on you because you have all these design possibilities, fonts that you can change around, patterns that you can put in the background, ways to share, and then down here, when you're to add stuff, you can add text boxes, you can add photos, you can add video, you can add audio, you can have, you can play with all these tools. So I'm asking you to use this one not because I really care. You can use WordPress or something that you've used in one of your other classes. I don't really think this is the best tool, but it's a pretty visually stimulating one, and it makes it easy for people who have no artistic skill, which I would include myself in that category for sure. So if you're the kind of person who freaks out about design, this gives you some easy options. Okay. So that's all I've got to say. Remember to post your questions. The last 2 points. 1, credit rescue. For those of you who don't have certain assignments in, and like you've never done them. I mean, I'm not talking about resubmitting. I'm talking about you've never done them and you feel like that's going to be a big blemish on you. Well, I would say do them because I'm going to give you an opportunity to put them in Dropboxes. I'm going to open all Dropboxes and discussions for people between 9 and 11. That's not to say you're going to get full marks for them, but it also means that you can get up to a 50%, which is a huge amount of marks if you've, let's say, missed 4 or 5 assignments, and you can get them all in, because instead of losing 40 points, you might only lose 20, which is a huge difference in average. Okay? And also, in terms of marking, it's been difficult to keep up because people are doing a good job resubmitting. So I'm going to have all your assignments done by Tuesday night. You should just be working this week on your blogs if you think you've done everything else. If by Tuesday night there's still something that appears not to be marked, you need to contact me and we need to make sure that I did not skip over it and just miss it. And that's not a big deal because I can always make sure that happens on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Okay? If you want to submit early, I can take a look at those. I would suggest if you're going to submit early on the culminating activities, you do it either today or really early tomorrow. Otherwise, I won't have a chance to look at it. Okay? I'm almost at 15 minutes. That's all the time I've got. Good luck, everyone. And I hope this is helpful. Send me your questions and remember to post them publicly if they have to do with culminating activities. Bye.